Look, it's me. I'll just call myself Doc. Everybody else does. I just want to ask you a couple of simple questions. People my age used to take civics classes. We used to take history. We used to study the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. We were told by our grandparents, as it were, because they're the World War II generation, about what our duty is to this country and what our duty is to our Constitution. I just want to know why. I want to know why you guys are all standing around doing nothing. I want to know why you guys all think that this vote thing matters nowadays. With electronic voting, no more punch ballots. You know, that got done with the Al Gore's challenge. They went to electronic crap. I want to know why you guys think that the electronic media is not easily altered. You know it is. You know when you go on the internet. You know you can be hacked. You know anything can be turned around. You know anything could be misjudged, misrepresented, misinterpreted. You know all of that. Yet, you're willing to comply with no voter ID, but you need a driver's license. It doesn't say that in U.S. code. In U.S. code, it says you don't need a driver's license to drive a motor vehicle for transportation unless you're in the Commission of Commerce, which means you're using the public roadways to make money. If you're just driving yourself around, you don't need a driver's license, but you're willing to comply. You're willing to take the fines. You're willing to pay the fines. You don't even go to court. You don't challenge it. You don't do anything. You're just willing to sit by and get rode over by the federal government. What happened to common law? What happened to freedom? What happened to personal responsibility? What happened to God? What happened to Judeo-Christian philosophy in our country? Why are we allowing Muslims to come into this country and take over places like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, like Michigan, like Dearborn specifically, Dearborn, Michigan? I mean, just check YouTube and look at the videos of the Muslim Day festivals, whatever the hell they are, and look how they treat the Christians, even the police. Look at this. Why do American citizens accept people who are not willing to accept this way of life? Why are we accepting people who refuse to assimilate to our culture, to our way of life, into this country? Why do we accept a president who is not willing, or able, for that matter, to prove that he is constitutionally allowed to possess the office in which he'd been voted into? Why do we allow that? Why do we allow the Congress to take a sideline while executive order after executive order after executive order are passed? They're not law, by the way. Executive orders are not law. Okay? But they treat them as such. Why do we allow that? Why is this president allowed to go to war in Libya without congressional approval? That's an impeachable offense. Why is the president of this country allowed to bomb Syria without congressional approval? That's an impeachable offense. Why are the people that surround this president allowed to violate a congressional order, a congressional subpoena? Why are these people held in contempt of court and allowed to walk free? Contempt of Congress and allowed to walk free. President Nixon, back in the 70s, all he did was allow a little bit of a burglary to happen in a hotel someplace. It was all on tape. It was all played and used as evidence against him. He was impeached. President Clinton, he was impeached. That all depends on what your definition of is. What kind of bullshit is that, people? You let that happen too. When is enough going to be enough? When do we draw the line? You know, I read an article not too long ago that said that our founding fathers, they thought and then they acted. They didn't wait to feel the punishment of their inaction, okay? They thought about it and they acted to prevent it. They didn't wait for it to come and rear its ugly head. They were able to critical think. They were able to look at the evidence. They were able to see what was going on around them and know what was coming their way and act to prevent it. It's like a chess game. Okay, so why do we sit idly by and wait for the ugly, painful results of executive order after executive order after executive order and treaties that are being signed? NAFTA, CAFTA, the Small Arms Treaty. I'm sure that the Small Arms Treaty that has been signed will go and bypass Congress altogether because, you know, in order for that treaty to be made law, Congress has to sign off on it. And I'll bet that won't happen either. Okay? So when they come knocking on your door looking for your guns, and it's the United Nations, because the treaty was signed without congressional approval, so what? It's all your fault. It's not the president's fault. It's not Congress's fault. It's not your local councilman's fault or your mayor's fault. It's not even your governor's fault. It's your fault. I can't even stress that enough. It's your fault. You're not going to do anything about it. You just sit back and let it happen. You know, bark, 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 bark. Tea Party this. Tea Party that. Yes, I'm not bashing the Tea Party. The Tea Party has done some really good things. All right, but some of these Tea Party candidates, they say the right thing. They get voted into office. Look at Scott Brown, for instance, in Massachusetts. And then they roll right the hell over and they succumb to whatever it is that makes up this Washington elitist status. They just vote the party line. What is the party line? It's a paradigm. Right-left paradigm? Maybe so. I don't think there's a right-left paradigm. I think there's socialism or communism paradigm. Okay, that's where we're at right now. All right, if you're a Republican, you're a socialist. If you're a Democrat, you're a communist. That's where we're at. We've moved so far left as a country that the Bill of Rights, as the president put it, states what the government cannot do for you. Well, that's exactly right. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution states very clearly what the government can do for you. And it's nothing. Okay? The government is supposed to stay out of your life. That's why we have a Constitution, to guarantee the rights that God gave to us. Just because they're in the Bill of Rights doesn't mean that's the only rights you have as a human, as a citizen, as a creature of God. That doesn't mean any of that. The government can't take away your rights because they didn't give them to you. The government didn't write the Constitution. The people did. The people of this country, by the consent of the governed, is what it says in the Constitution. If you're willing to consent to being told what a free speech zone is, and you're willing to guarantee that you're going to be in this little box to tell people that you're expressing your grievances in this little box, you should be ashamed of yourself. We have free speech zones should not exist in this country. Nowhere. This whole country is a free speech zone. You want to go to the Second Amendment? Let's go there. The Second Amendment. I'll read it to you. Matter of fact, let me do that. I need to find it and then put my old man glasses on. But I can quote it if I read it to you. And I'll get there eventually. But in any event, where are they? Second Amendment. Second Amendment. I used to have them saved. This is 14. I don't want that one. 13. Goes my glasses. Told you I'd have to put them on. The First Amendment. Second Amendment is very short. And I have it memorized, but I didn't want to misquote it. And it says, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And there's two words here that are very, very particular and that should stand out. The first one is shall. And the second one is infringed. Okay? So it says shall not be infringed. That's the last set of words. Okay? Infringement after infringement after infringement have happened with the Second Amendment. And now they're looking to go further. You know, it used to be in the 1800s, people got locked up. They had their sidearms with them. They got thrown in jail for whatever. And the first thing that was done is they got their weapons back. They had the right to defend themselves. It has nothing to do with the militia. And in case you're wondering about the militia, most states have it in their constitution. In fact, I believe all states do. Don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. But in my state specifically, all right, it says that anybody in between the ages of 18 and 65, any person within the state between the ages of 18 and 65 is automatically in the militia. Okay? It's up to you as a citizen to take part in the militia, to know how to work firearms, to know how to work in the group that is there to protect you when nobody else will be, which is the militia. Anybody who says that the militia is a bunch of lunatics, about crazy people, about people who hate the government, about sovereign citizens, yeah, the sovereign citizens don't hate the government. They just believe that they're the people, that they wrote the Constitution, that the government is supposed to stand down before them, not the other way around. Do I consider myself a sovereign citizen? No. Am I a people? Yes. There's a lot of questions that I still have. And what I want from you people is to start answering the questions that I put before you in the comment section, please. I'll try to answer them because I really want to answer them. And I'll do it one at a time, as long as you'll let me. Thank you very much. This is Doc, and I swore an oath to protect and defend this Constitution from enemies both foreign and domestic. So help me God. And that oath did not die when I left the United States Navy. I guarantee it. I'm out.